Hey guys, welcome to Precision Machine Shed. Today what I got is a couple old South Bend lathes that I picked up. Quick little background on these. I always keep an eye out for lathes because I like, I flip them. So this guy is a South Bend Heavy 10 and this is a tool room lathe. This is a pretty cool machine. I saw this thing pop up on Facebook. The guy said he needed to get rid of it ASAP and I made it an offer. He took it, so I went down and grabbed that one. We'll show you that here in a second. This one was a same thing. A couple days later, I didn't anticipate to buy two of these lathes in a couple days, but this is a 13-inch, and a gentleman bought a bunch of these out of a school, supposedly is what he told me. I don't think that's quite correct, but because this thing looked like a production machine, but he had several of them, and I picked out the one I wanted out of the ones he had, so that's this guy right here. So we'll take a look at that in a second, but first let's look at this thing. This is kind of a cool machine that is a little out of the ordinary, so let's take a look at it. And what we have here is, I'm not sure exactly the date, but the last, so Steve Wells is a guy on the internet that has a registry of South Bend serial numbers, the makes, the models, all that stuff, and the approximate date of manufacture. This specific one is newer than the last South Bend Heavy 10 they have listed on there, and that is from 1994. So this is I'm going to say a 1995, 1996 or newer. They stopped making lathes in 2003, so it's somewhere between 95, 96 and 2003. The cool thing about this one is that it does have a factory metric threading gear setup on it, and you don't see these that often, but a newer one with that is kind of cool too. So let's just take a look at this thing. It is a 4.5 foot bed. Take a look at the cabinet here. It's kind of cool, nicely done. I believe this guy has been repainted. Actually, I know it has been, but whoever did it did a phenomenal job. Taking a look at the driver's side here, very nicely done. It does have a little bit of scoring on there, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of these lathes, and I'm not sure that that's something to be worried about, but this belt is really tight on there. It doesn't need to be that tight, but nice and smooth. Everything runs good. This is good. Plates and everything are in phenomenal shape. They're all in really good condition. Original switch there. I do have the power to it right now, so we'll tighten that back up. We'll turn it on here and take a look at it. Super quiet. That's the nice thing about these old South Bends. If they're in good shape and the bearings are all good, well oiled, they run so quiet. That is the one nice thing about these old machines, is they're not noisy like a lot of the newer ones are. Even when you're running the change gears. Not that much more noise than without running them. So, throw that back in neutral. This particular machine does have the attached taper attachment, and I do have the clamp for it, but it's just, I took it off because when you're not using them, I always take them off. And there's a little bit of backlash in the cross slide and the compound here, but it's in pretty phenomenal shape actually. One thing that you can look at with these machines to tell if they're wore out or not is, of course, the Gibbs screws. You can't see this one, but this one is screwed out, and this one is screwed out quite a way. Actually, I should probably screw it in just a tad little bit, but it hardly, I think I did tighten it down, but that thing is not screwed in all the way like most of them are, so. And you can still faintly see some of the scraping in the cross slide and the compound quite a bit actually. So, and of course the flame hardened bed, and you can see the serial number there. What is it? 23173R, which is a later date. I don't know if somebody stuck that little QR code on there. I don't know what that is, but. So this is a 3-phase machine, which is just fine for me because I have 3-phase power, but this machine is currently for sale. I had one of these and I got rid of them just because I didn't use it. The one thing I did use it for, which worked very well, And these machines are actually kind of known for this. If you're doing any sort of gunsmith work like I do, it does have the D14, which is nice, but the distance in the headstock here, I have a little plate here that I made, a spider plate that's only about that thick. So with an outside spider and the inside one, you can get pretty short barrels in there. I think you can get 16 or 18 inch barrels in there. So it works really well for threading like 22 barrels and stuff like that. This guy did come with a quick change wedge style bow star. It's an older one. I don't know. I've always run a Loris and Dorian. That probably works just fine. But yeah, nice little machine. And here is the metric gear cover. So you can tell that the standard ones are not this big. They cut back here further, and then they cut down here further. They don't have this big hump, and they're not this wide. So this is a metric gear cover. And I'll take this off. There's not metric gears in there at the moment, but you can just take a look anyways. So this is the original color. That's what the machine should be, but somebody, like I said, did a phenomenal job of repainting this entire thing, and they took their time when they did it. They did a really nice job. When I first got this machine, I thought it was actually all original paint, and then I started looking, and you can, little telltale signs here and there that it's not original, but still in phenomenal shape for the age of the machine. You know, and this is one of the newer, this is probably about one of the newest South Bend Heavy 10s you can buy outside of the new version of them, but the old school ones, this is it. We'll grab a photo of the plate here. And there's the change gear plate for all your different thread pitches. I do have, I believe there's 8 different gears. I got actually a couple of them right here I can show you. And this isn't one of them, but that's what one of them looks like. This is a 110, 127. I don't think that's correct for this machine. And I gotta count it to make sure it is a 110, 127, but yeah, it says 110, 127. I think this machine has a 100, 127. And then there's a bunch of little spur gears that go with it, but these are extras. But yeah, all the metric you could ever want. I was going to mention one last little thing. This thing does have a onboard coolant pump. I'm not sure that is the original container there. That's it could be. It's a metal bucket. Something systems. I don't know. Maybe it's pumping systems. I don't know. Maybe that is the original bucket. But there is also a switch there for the pump. I don't have it plugged in right now, but it does work. So maybe it is original. I don't know. Then on the back side, of course, there is this nice, somebody does have a nice spout here for the coolant, and that is hooked up, and then there is a drain. So probably is original, but I don't know about this stuff, if this is original or aftermarket, but kind of nice feature. All right, so there it is. There is the South Bend Heavy 10. This, like I said, this is about the newest old school South Bend Heavy 10 you can get. There was only about 100 serial numbers, give or take, after this one, I think. So this was one of the last that came off the line. If anybody's interested in this guy, I do currently have it for sale as of March of 2025. You can hit me up, let me know if you're interested. Let's take a look at the next machine I got here, the South Bend 13. So, the story I was told when I got this guy was that this was a school machine, and I can kind of believe that because there is the big emergency stop button there, which is typical for school lathes. And if we look a little closer, we'll take a look at the cross slide here. As we can see, several I don't know, kids probably got in there and shot that guy up, even down here a little bit. So I can believe that it may have at one point in time been at a high school, and that's would explain all this. The thing that it doesn't really explain is this thing was super dirty. And on top of being super dirty, unless they just completely neglected this thing, they ran coolant in this thing at one time. They had to have, because this tray is just dirty, and that stuff is caked on there. So either they left it dirty, which I don't know if I really believe that, but I know these machines got used, but I think they kind of tried to take care of them and kept them clean to a certain degree. I thought that was kind of part of shop class, is keeping your equipment clean, but what do I know? And this is a 13-inch, it's a 5-foot bed, and plates on here is pretty good. I'm missing a couple screws there, but other than that, it's pretty good shape. These 13-inch lathes, I actually like these machines. You can see we got the 4-step cone pulley there. These machines are really nice to run. They're just heavier, and they seem to be smoother than like the 13-inch. They're the 10-inch, the 10Ls, the heavy 10s. And they run nice. So let me go swap my cords here, and we'll plug this in and we'll run this guy. All right, this is also a 3-phase machine. I don't know the horsepower rating, but it's probably 2, give or take. 1.5 or 2, but we'll crank this guy on. This one's super quiet too. Oop, hold on, we gotta hit the power switch here. Safety first. All right, here we go. And we're wired backwards, of course, but that's okay. Just nice and smooth and quiet. These things they've always amazed me. When they're in good shape, they're so quiet and smooth to run. I didn't date this one, but it does have the D14 spindle on it, which is a nice feature to have. Another thing about these 13s is I've always liked is this carriage slide has always been, I don't know if it's the leverage you get from this big hand wheel, but they have always been so like silky smooth. And it could be the weight and just the way they're put together, but I like this. This is such a nice, like even to my Harrison, my rebuilt Harrison, like this is smoother than my Harrison actually. But, and the backlash on this thing is super minimal. It's like 25 thousandths, if that. Same thing up here. So super nice. This isn't a taper attachment or tool room lathe per se, but still a very capable machine. I gotta double check I got oil in my, yep. So let's take a little closer look. And this is also a newer lathe. I forget when they started hardening beds, but I want to say in the 70s or 80s. Somebody will probably correct me there, but there's a serial number on this one, 16559T as in Tango. So I could look this one up, but I would assume it's 70s-ish. That would, maybe 80s. I could look at the motor too, but that's my guess. I also like the hand wheels on these guys too. This one is missing the handle on it, but they're always nice and smooth too. All right, so there we go. I mean, this machine is, you know, of the two, I kind of like this machine. The South Bend Heavy 10 is cool, but these things, I don't know. There's just something about these. I should keep this one, but I think I'm gonna sell this one too. Throw in the back gear here. Oh, we gotta tighten the belt. So this one's a little noisier, but I think my last 13-inch that I had, I think that one had a 6-foot bed. I think that was a nice 6 or 7-foot bed. God, that was a nice lathe. I sold that to my friend of mine. He still got it, and he won't sell it back to me. So, but I think that one was a little noisy in the back end too, which is fine. There we go, back in direct drive. There we go. Super smooth, nice and quiet. Let's take a look here. I would run this gear setup for you, and it's actually really quiet. However, if you can see there, we did lose a tooth. We lost a tooth, and I never got around to fixing it. There is a guy actually coming to look at this thing tomorrow. If not, if somebody wants it, you can hit me up. I might still have it, but it'll run with one missing tooth, but I'd rather not risk trying to potentially break more teeth. You know, fixing one isn't bad, fixing several kind of sucks. All right, guys. Well, there they are, the two South Bend lathes that I picked up recently. I've always kind of enjoyed picking these things up. They are, I don't know, I got a special place in my heart for them, I guess. I don't know, but no, they're usually pretty easy to fix up. As long as there's not a bunch of stuff wore out or broke on them, you can usually get them up and running pretty easily. This one was running. It did have, the motor was very noisy when I got it, almost obnoxiously noisy. But it's a Leeson motor. I can't tell you what size it was, but it's probably a horse and a half, 3-phase. The bearings were shot in it, probably from sitting around. Grease dries up. They never got used. Anyways, you can get, I was going to order some, then I went down to the local hardware store and they actually had the correct size bearings for that motor. So I stripped the motor apart, put in new bearings, threw her in there. Now she's nice and quiet. So who knows how long they'll last. I think they're imports, but better than the old ones, that's for sure. And other than cleaning up this one, I didn't do much to this one. This one pretty much as is where I got it. Dump a bunch of fluids in them, both of them. Make sure they're all well greased, well oiled. Usually take off the compound, the cross slide, clean all that up because those are usually gunked in on both of them. And just gave them a good clean over. But yeah, whoever gets them next can spend more time, clean them up a little more if they want to or whatever. But there we go. Just a couple nice old South Bends. Just thought I'd show you guys while I still have them. So if you enjoyed that, like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. See you next time. Thanks for watching.